Good Monday morning, everybody. Welcome to a live stream here at the Jayda and Stitches show on Friday. We made ourselves a boho sunflower wall hanging using a wall hanging sort of edition of this square. So I made a square using our sunflower coaster pattern. So if you remember the coaster pattern from a while back, I loved that sunflower image and I really wanted to square it up. So I was able to do just that, and we turned it into a wall hanging too. In fact, I have the wall hanging right here. I took it back off the wall. We used a size 5 bulky weight yarn. This is Lion Brand's Hue and Me. And let me just move a few things around here. I really like this yarn for wall hangings, so it came out really nicely. I would consider this a very generous size 5. If you are going to make this, then a size 6 bulky weight yarn is okay too. It's really nice and big. It's about 10 inches by 14 inches altogether, but it's just got that lovely kind of wool look because it's a wool acrylic blend. Really like how that came out. But I thought today we would make the square. I mean, who doesn't love another granny square in the collection of granny squares? So I thought today we would do the granny square version. It's all part of the same pattern. So if you want to pick up the pattern, and for those of you who did already, thank you so much. The pattern is available in our shop. And for fun, today's sneaky sale, if you're here, you're in the know. Today's sneaky sale in our Etsy shop is anything sunflower related. So we put all of our sunflower goodies on sale. They're 15% off. And if you want to pick up a sunflower pattern, please feel free to do so. Today's a good day for it. Thank you so much if you do. All right, everybody, let's make ourselves a square. So I made this one using a 5.5mm hook or an I9. This is sort of the typical hook I use for a lot of my granny squares. Pair of scissors, yarn needle, the usual things. You might want a stitch marker if you have trouble keeping track of like false stitches or the slip stitches that create each row. And you know what? I think I'll just grab one so I can kind of highlight my own for you. I'm using 3 colors. You need about 20 yards of a brown, 20 yards of a golden sunflower color, and another 20 to 30 yards of green for your background. Unlike the background, which used a lot more for the wall hanging, you're only worried about 3 rows. So this is the back of the square. There is no sewing in this square. It is all done with crochet. So that's another reason I love this. And it's, I'm just really delighted with the way this turned out because it's got that wonderful 3-dimensional look. But it's a completely attached square. So thought we would do this today. I love sunflowers. We do have another sunflower granny square. In fact, I've linked that original tutorial in the description box down below. The wall hanging is also linked in the description box down below. So if you missed the Friday video, that's there for you too. It's a more concise version of looking at how the square is built if you want to come back to that later. But after today's live stream, I'll include chapters. So you'll be able to see how that goes together. So today I'm going to use a size 4 medium weight acrylic yarn. I figured that will kind of give us the size of a regular granny square. I mean, like a lot of us use the size 4 yarn for our granny square, so I thought I would use that for demonstration. This is about 7 inches or so. Don't mind me, I'm still just fiddling with the camera. I keep kind of knocking it. I just want to kind of trying to get it to be straight. So this is about 7 inches, 18 centimeters-ish. And you can make it bigger. So you can vary the hook size and the yarn weight like you would for any granny square. You can also continue to add background rows. So if you want to make it just a little bit bigger, you can add another row of the background. You could also add a border. So another row of background, another border, and you could easily get this up to 8, 9 inches, you know, even 12 if you're using a really bulky weight yarn. So just like any granny square, you can play with the hook size and the yarn weight. And you can always add more rows to the basic background. But today we're just going to do the 6-row version. And I'm going to show you how to attach the petals. So there's no sewing, like I said. You're just going to kind of attach these petals as we build them to the background. And you'll notice that I have not attached them to the edge. So you don't want to attach them to the edge of row 6. You want to attach them to the front of row 6. So notice, not attached to the edge. All of those stitches are still free. So if you were going to go and add a row, join these or add a border or something, you can still use all those stitches. They're not interfered with. So just so you see that. Okay, sip of my coffee. A big hello to all the family members here. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you all had a nice weekend. And let's get going here. Mr. InStitches is keeping an eye on the chat. He's also keeping an eye on Penny. So he'll be dipping in and out. We're going to start with the middle, our brown color. Now, obviously, this is a really pretty flower, in my humble opinion. So it would look nice in different colors if you wanted to just make really wild, fantastic, brightly colored flowers. Like this would be quite the garden quilt if you wanted to make them all really different colors. Hi, Caroline! Member for 61 months. Caroline in the house with a membership milestone says, Happy Monday! Love a no-sew project. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind sewing. I like to sew, but when you can do it all like as you go, it just makes things so much faster and efficient. So I'm going to put these colors to the side. Let's put this up here. I'll get these guys out of the way. I'm hoping that you can see my brown yarn. I'm going to explain what I'm doing, so this shouldn't be too difficult to see or understand, but if it's tricky, let me know, and I will just switch to a different color. But I do have a nice bright aluminum hook neck, so you should be able to see the loops against the neck. I like the contrast. We're going to begin with a cinch circle. So you cross your yarn, make a bit of a fish shape. And if you don't like cinch circles, I do recommend trying to get familiar with the technique because it is used in a lot, but we've got a video on substitutions that you can use. I've got that linked down below as well. So if you need to try something different, that's fine. But what you want is zero space in the middle. So no space in the middle of your flower. So you make your cinch circle or your magic circle or your sliding loop, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to use a double crochet stitch. So after you've chained one to secure the circle, chain two more. And you've got 3 chains. For row 1, your 3 chains here at the beginning of the row will count as a double crochet. So here we go. 11 more double crochets into the circle, working over top of that short tail. I find it helps to hold the bottom of the stitches, hold the actual ring when I'm picking up the loop. So I get that first one done and then I hold it and I do the second one. That just kind of establishes the tension for me. After I get a couple of stitches into that cinch circle, holding it isn't like it becomes a little easier to manipulate. I think sometimes the cinch circle gives people trouble because they're trying to hold this floppy loose thing. A couple people left really great tips in the comment section of that recent video on substitutions for the cinch circle. And just also ideas on how to make the cinch circle stronger, like they wrap the yarn twice, they knot it twice. There's a lot of great suggestions there. So if you do check out that video later, make sure you read through the comment section. Leave a comment of your own if you like, because there's some really great tips in that comment section. We're going for 11 double crochets in addition to our chain 3. Happy Monday, everybody. It's so nice to see you all here. I should count myself up here. There's my chain 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So that's 11 double crochet plus my chain 3. I'm going to grab my short tail and cinch the whole thing shut nice and tight. There we go. I will join with a slip stitch to the top of the chain 3. I'm going to work over top of that short tail though. So whenever I do that, I pick it up, I bring it kind of up here so that I catch it, so that it's sort of sitting up on top of my stitches. Join that row. And that is 12 double crochets for the purpose of row 1. So chain 3 and 11 double crochets into that circle. Chain 3. The chain 3 will not count as a double crochet for rows 2 and 3 of this pattern. So when you pull up, you should be able to see where your chain 3 is coming out of. There's like a little space there. Double crochet right into that space. And now, so I'm going to get my cinch, my little thing. Where we join the row is a slip stitch, and that's where we chain 3 out of. That's also known as the false stitch. It looks like an actual stitch because technically it is, but you don't always use it when you are working in the round. So it is helpful to mark it. This way you know that's where you joined the row, and you can just focus on the increase pattern. So for the purpose of row 1, you're working 2 double crochet into each stitch. 2 double crochet into each stitch all the way around. Hello, hello. If you're just popping in or popping out, thank you so much for saying hello on a Monday morning. I hope the weather is, wherever you are, as beautiful as it is here. September is, you know, kind of kind of overshadowed by school and the fall starting, but my gosh, it's still technically a summer month and it is beautiful. I used to always do my summer vacations in September because that's also when it's less busy in most places, at least here in Canada. Lovely time of year. 2 double crochet in each stitch all the way around until we get back to what I'm calling the false stitch. It's also the slip stitch from the previous row. And it's the stitch before so the one that's marked is the last stitch that I'm working 2 double crochet into. So if I were to include the chain 3 at the beginning of the row, I would have 24 stitches now. But we have this gap here. We have this gap. This is what looks like a stitch. It's the false stitch. It's the slip stitch from joining the previous row. We're going to use it, double crochet into it just once. And then skip your chain 3 and join with a slip stitch to the first real double crochet. So you have 24 stitches and no gaps in that circle. Sip of coffee. Hi Rita, hi everybody. Birthday month for PB. Yes, a lot of birthdays in September. Happy birthday, September babies. What a beautiful month to be born in. Okay, that's row 2. One more row of brown. We're going to chain 3 to begin. Again, chain 3 does not count as a double crochet for this row, but where we join the row, our little slip stitch where the chain 3 is coming out of, I'm going to mark it with my stitch marker. If you're left-handed and you're working in the opposite direction, your slip stitch to join your false stitch is on the other side. If you're working left-handed in the other direction, just so you know. Double crochet into the same place that you joined and chained out of. So if you pull up on it, you see that space, double crochet right there. Double crochet once into the next stitch. And this is an increase row. So we're going to work 2 double crochet into the next stitch, 1 double crochet into the stitch after that, and repeat. 2, 1, 2, 1, all the way around. And you've marked, if you're like me, you've marked the false stitch or the joined stitch with your stitch marker. So you can just sort of focus on that little increase pattern and not worry about counting. Hello, Crocus. Crocus is chiming in from another part of this big, beautiful country. Member for 31 months. Thank you so much, Crocus. Crocus says, a great sunny day and project start to the week. I agree. I mean, we're kind of heading into fall. I mean, I'm looking out at, I don't know, Crocus, can you see changed leaves where you are? I think you're further north than I am. But we've got changing leaves and they're so pretty and they're not full out yet. Like I'm not looking at the gorgeous regalia of autumn yet, but there's the odd one training. Makes me feel like there's a nip in the air. And this is a sunflower pattern, so it's just perfect for this time of year. I've got some sunflower projects that you guys have been sending me at the Etsy shop. Again, if you have photos, feel free to send them to us at the Etsy shop. You can always use that link in the description to get to the Etsy shop and send us a photo in the message threads. I'm going to share them in a post a little later today because some people are making the wall hanging. Amanda made one that's for a table runner. There's like all these little things you can do with this pattern because, I mean, first of all, it's a granny square at the base. And you know, you can do a billion things with a square. And the project ideas coming in are just so cute. So I've got some great sunflower projects to share with you guys a little later today. We're very excited about that. I just love what you guys do. 2, 1, 2, 1 all the way around. We're still using the double crochet stitch. We're going to have 36 stitches at the end of row 3. 36 is a magical number because we're going to keep coming back to it. Happy birthday, Amanda. See, so many September babies. I think most of the country is further north than Southern Ontario, Crocus. 2 double crochet and then 1 double crochet, and then I'm back to my stitch marker. So that's my last stitch before the stitch marker. That gets 1 double crochet. So that'll be 36 stitches if I were to include the chain 3. but I don't want to use the chain 3. I want to close in that gap, so I'm going to double crochet into the false stitch, the slip stitch that sits at the bottom of the chain 3, skip the chain 3 and join with a slip stitch to the first real double crochet. That's it for the brown dark yarn. It's your basic increasing circle. So we also have a tutorial where I demonstrate this. It's maybe a little brighter. So if you had trouble seeing it and you really need to see things, then the link is in the description box for the Friday video that we did, which is the sunflower wall hanging. Whole thing is built the same way. But that is it, your basic increasing circle. 12, 24, 36 double crochet, fasten off. You can weave in your tail or work over top of it. We're going to do our background first. So I love this pattern because we're using the end of row 3 twice. We're going to use back loops only to start our background. We're going to use front loops only to put in our petals, and we're going to do the petals after we do the background. So we build the background, we square up our circle, we do all that first before we make our pretty little flower. So background color, I'm going to use my green. Pardon me, I'm hiccuping here. Vima! Vima's in the chat. Hello, Vima. Vima's been a member for 58 months. My goodness, thank you, Vima. Vima says, hi, Jayda. How are you? Hi, Vima. I'm good. I saw your message at the shop. I haven't been able to get to it yet. It's been kind of a busy morning. But I see you there. I will get back to you. I promise, I promise. I hope you're having a lovely day as well. A lovely day. I hope you had a lovely day. I think it's a lot later for you. Take your green or whatever background color you're going to use for your sunflower granny square. Make a slip knot. And then, you might want to get this in here. We want to join our yarn with a slip stitch in the stitch before the knot. So when you fasten off, you get, not only do you have your slip stitch, so I'm going to use my little needle here. So you've got your little slip stitch. There's your little slip stitch. Here's where you fastened off your yarn. There's a knot. And where you fastened off, if you pull up on it, you see the stitch that you joined in. So you've got the slip stitch join, the little knot, and then the stitch right after that. Well, this sits on top of the chain 3. We don't want to use that, or we don't want to use an extra stitch. So when I'm joining colors into a row like this, I do like to slip my hook in to the stitch just before the actual knot of the slip stitch, or the fasten off. So I'm going to join, remember, back loops only for the background color in row 4. I'm going to join with a slip stitch. I'm going to work over top of both my tails. I want 36 stitches. So because I've joined in that false stitch, I'm going to skip this stitch that we joined our yarn in. So the knot where the fasten off is sitting, if I pull up on it, if I pull up on that, you see that space there? I'm skipping that stitch. I'm going to work into the stitch after it. And that way I will maintain 36 stitches and I won't have any gaps. I'm also working over top of my short tails because I can pull them as I work, and that will close things up as well. Just little nifty, neat tricks. So skip the next stitch and we're going to single crochet into the stitch after that, but back loops only. The back loop is always the loop of the stitch that's furthest away from you. So I'm going to work over top of both of my short tails and I'm going to use back loops only. So single crochet, working over my tails, and I can kind of close up that space. So join with a slip stitch, back loop only, skip over the stitch that you joined your row in, back loop only, single crochet. And here we go, back loops only, half double crochet into the next stitch, back loops only, double crochet into the stitch after that, back loop only, extended double crochet. Love this, it's a great stand-in for the treble. Start a double crochet, work the first half of it, chain 1 in the middle, and finish it. It's as tall as a treble without the trouble of a treble. Slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, extended double crochet. That is 5 stitches, gradually getting bigger. This is how we are squaring off the circle. Chain 2, do not skip any stitches. Let me make sure I'm not skipping anything in the chat. I've got a quick question here. Kim says, Jayda, you make so many things. I thank you so much. Keep it up. Thank you, Kim. Kimberly with a membership milestone. Kimberly has been a member for 41 months. Thank you so much. Kimberly says, good morning, everyone. Love the square. Thank you. I love it too. I think this is my new favorite sunflower square. I mean, I've officially got 2 now. This is my favorite. but I like that big boho flower kind of look. Okay, back to the square. Chain 2, do not skip any stitches, still back loops only. Do an extended treble crochet. And again, all this is in the Friday video, so if you want to see it faster, a little closer up, a little brighter perhaps, then that video is linked in the description box. I will also include chapters today, so you can always wander over the video and see the chapters as soon as the live stream is finished. Back loops only, double crochet into the next stitch. We're doing this in reverse. Back loops only, half double crochet into the next stitch. I'm still kind of tugging on my tails to keep things, you know what, I'm gonna grab that tail a bit more. There we go. Back loops only, half double crochet. Back loops only, single crochet into the next stitch, and back loop only, slip stitch into the stitch after that. So that's your pattern. If you're going, so slip stitch, single, half double crochet, extended double crochet gets bigger, chain 2 for the corner, and then you do the whole thing in reverse. Extended double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet, slip stitch. All into the back loops only for this row. And then we get bigger again. Single crochet, back loops only, half double crochet, back loops only, double crochet, back loops only, extended double crochet, back loop only, chain 2 for the corner, and then you do it all in reverse. And what are we doing? Well, because we're using the back loops only, you've got this lovely ridge of unused loops from row 3, and that's what we're going to anchor our petals in. So this is how we are going to make that lovely 3-dimensional effect. Row 4 of the background is back loops only, the whole row. Row 4 of the petals, which we're going to do later on, will be front loops only, the whole row. After your chain 2 corner, you do the whole thing in reverse, treble crochet, back loops only. I'm sorry, extended double crochet in this case, but you can use a treble if you like. Regular double crochet, back loops only, half double crochet. Debbie, thank you so much for picking up the pattern. Thank you, Debbie. Single crochet, back loops only, and then slip stitch. That's the middle of the row. And we are squaring up the circle as we go. Thank you, Debbie. Yes, dark colors can be tricky. I recommend doing it in a really well-lit area if you do want to use the dark colors. But like I said, if you did the big spring garden wall hanging project along with this a couple of springs ago, I used this coaster pattern. So this is my sunflower coaster pattern. And I used it with a whole bunch of really bright colors just to make giant, fantastic looking flowers, like fantastical. Like almost kind of, I guess, sort of stand-ins for peonies and all those nice big flowers. So you could always use this pattern with a whole bunch of different colors to make brightly colored flowers, which means you could have yellow centers, orange centers, white centers, lighter brown centers even. Just the center of any flower really would be perfectly all right. And then you can use whatever color you want for your petals. So I love patterns with lots of range. We are getting bigger again. So back loops only, single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, and extended double crochet. Back loops only the whole way. Chain 2 for the new corner, and we get smaller again. Extended double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet, and slip stitch. There we go. Hello. We have got all sorts of fun activity happening in the chat here. Hello. Becky has sent a membership. Thank you, Becky. Congratulations to Amanda. Amanda, welcome back to the family. Thank you so much, Becky. And Karen with a membership milestone. Karen's been a member for 52 months. Thank you so much, Karen. Glad you guys are all here. After your slip stitch, we want to get bigger again. So we go single crochet. Joanne, thank you for picking up the pattern. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you so much for your support, you guys. It means a tremendous amount. Thank you for being here. Oh, and we just recently found out that one of the new YouTube algorithms is how many comments there are. So if you even just want to leave a little emoji, like a thumbs up or a smiley face or whatever your favorite emoji might be, if you've got access to the sunflower emoji, that one would be perfect. You can leave that in the comment section down below. Thank you so much if you do. After your chain 2, you want to get smaller again. So we start with an extended double crochet, and then a double crochet, and then a half double crochet, and then a single crochet, and that brings us back to the same place that we joined our yarn. So that's the slip stitch. That's the stitch that we slip stitched into. We want to close off. I like to slip my hook through the bottom of that actual slip stitch and then through the same stitch that I joined in. So I'm getting through both and then just slip stitch. And that just, I don't know, neatens things up a little bit. So that is row 4 of the background. The whole thing was built into the back loops of what was row 3. So you should have a nice uninterrupted row of 36 ridge stitches all the way around. We'll come back to those later. If you count them up, you'll see 37 because of the slip stitch to join from that row. Don't worry, it's all going to disappear when we do the petals. But more importantly, you should have 36 stitches all the way around with 4 chain 2 corners. So extended double, double, half, single, slip, single, half, double, extended double. Single, half, extended, double, extended double. So that's 9 all the way across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 across each side, plus your chain 2 corners. 36 stitches. That's row 4. And I'm going to have a sip of my coffee. We're going to jump right into row 5. Row 5 and row 6 are the same. They're just double crochet. We've squared up the circle. Now all we want to do is make it bigger. So if you want to look at the back of this one that I've already done, that's the squaring up row, and then you've got 2 rows of double crochet. Here we go. We are going to chain 3 for these 2 rows, rows 5 and 6. The chain 3 at the beginning of the row counts as a double crochet. You've already chained out of what was the slip stitch to join, this little thing right here. So don't stitch in here. You want to jump into what is the single crochet. So you can use the full loops now, so no more back loops only moving forward. Double crochet into each of those 4 stitches up to the chain 2 space. So with your chain 3, you've got 5 stitches already. Into the chain 2 corner, 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. So every chain 2 corner space gets the same treatment. 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. That's our corner. Oh, I just love the magic of a square. I love going from a circle to a square. Just the basic little bit of math and geometry that you can create with stitches. Just, I mean, 30 plus years in, I'm still delighted by it. When you leave a corner, always pull back on that last stitch so that you can see the top of the next stitch because you don't want to miss it. Double crochet into that, double crochet in each stitch all the way across. You're going from having 9 stitches in between your corners at the end of row 4 to having 13 stitches in between your corners at the end of row 5. So you're adding 4 stitches to each side of your square from 9 to 13. And into the corner, 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. We are nice and square. We are building on that squared up row of row 4. Double crochet in every stitch all the way around. So no fancy stitching, just plain old double crochet. Double crochet in every stitch. 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet in every chain 2 corner. When you leave, just don't miss the top of the next stitch. Make sure you double crochet into it and double crochet into each of those stitches all the way across. If you're just taking, if you've just popped in but you've got to leave, like Joanna, hello, thank you for spending some time with us. Feel free to come back later. I'm going to have chapters in the live stream. So once this becomes a video, I like to try and add chapters. So like you'll see row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 4 petal, row 4 background, row 4 petal, etc. So if you're looking for a specific part of the video, I'll have those all chaptered up for you. Materials, the intro, the whole thing. Trying to make it as useful as possible so that you don't have to kind of keep, fast forwarding through the whole thing if you're trying to find a specific part. 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet in the corner space. The magic of a granny square. When you get around to the other side, so that side that you started on, you finish your last squared corner, 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches to double crochet into, because the chain 3 that counts as a double crochet began the row and it's right in the middle. So when you get up to it, make sure you've got 2 in the corner, 1 in the top of the extended double, 1 in the top of the double, 1 in the top of the half, 1 in the top of the single, and remember the chain 3 comes out of the slip stitch. Don't be confused by the join and the stitch over here that you skipped and all that. Just count. You should have 1 in each of those 9 stitches plus 2 in each corner, 13 all the way across, including your chain 3. That's how you count. Join with a slip stitch. And we've got 1 more row of double crochet, so that was row 5. Nice square happening here. I always like to pause and pull out my corners. Hello, hello everybody. If you're just joining us, we're making this. It's our boho sunflower granny square. It's my new favorite sunflower granny square. We have two different versions. And we used we built on this idea for the boho wall hanging, which we did on the Friday video. So if you want to see that, it's linked in the description box down below. Chain 3 to begin row 6 of the background. Chain 3 counts as a double crochet. So make sure that you go find the next stitch and double crochet into the top of the next stitch. And then off you go. Double crochet in every stitch all the way up to the chain 2 corner and work 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet in the corner space. And that's row 6. You'll have 17 stitches across each side in between your chain 2 corners at the end of this row. Take care, Marie. Thank you for popping in. Another reason I love granny squares is I'm able to kind of keep half an eyeball on the chat. I can sort of see what's happening here. Ooh, Crocus is going off to buy some yarn. Nice. I don't know if it's still being made, but the yellow I'm using today is the color bronze. This is a line. It's a Bernat Super Value. It's Bernat Super Value skein, and it's the color bronze. And I can't get enough of this color. It is just, it's just the most beautiful yellowy, golden, orangey color. I just love it. Two double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet in the corner. I just love the gentle repetition of the double crochet stitches. Remember, when you leave a corner, pull back, don't miss the top of that first stitch, because if you miss it, it'll throw off your stitch count, and nobody wants that. You'll have 17 stitches across each side in between your chain 2 corner spaces at the end of this row, and this is the last row of the background color. Now, of course, you can continue this pattern. If you want to add another row, another 2 rows of double crochet, you're more than welcome. Each side will increase by 4 stitches. So it's the same thing, double crochet in every single stitch, 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet in every corner space, chain 3 at the beginning of the row counts as a double crochet. So just keep repeating this row if you want a bigger square. You can also change colors and make a row of border using the same pattern. And if you don't want a full double crochet border, you can use the same pattern but use half double crochet or a single crochet. And that will border up your square if you want to do that too. So lots of options. Crocus wonders, what's the yarn background? So the background green that I'm using, I've been using this green ball of yarn for like 50 years because it's so huge. It's a Red Heart Comfort, but one of the absolutely ginormous balls. I've made entire calendar blankets and sweaters with this, and it's still going. This is such a huge ball of yarn. I think it's the color Sage, but it may not have had a color, and I've since lost the the label, which you can probably imagine burst off of this thing at one point. So, it's a Red Heart Comfort, one of the super gigantic balls, and I'm pretty sure it's like the color Sage. I'm not even sure if they're still making it, but it's a lovely tweedy background color. I do like it. Double crochet in every stitch up to the chain 3. So remember, you want to make sure your last, if you're confused, just look. So pull it apart. Here's your last stitch. Make sure there's a stitch in front of it. There's the chain 3 from the previous row. Here's the chain 3 that began this row. So, and if you're really confused, just count. You should have 17 stitches across each side. Join with a slip stitch to the top of the chain 3. That's it. That's it for the background color. You can fasten off. If you wanted to make your square bigger, like I said, chain 3, just continue. Double crochet in every stitch, 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet in every corner, all the way around. Join with a slip stitch, top the chain 3. You can do that. You're just repeating the same pattern, and you can do that as much as you want. So as many rows extra if you want to make it bigger. Like if you've got a specific size that you're going for, that's how you make it bigger. You can change colors if you want. Do whatever you like. Fasten off. And I'm going to weave in my tail. Becky, thank you so much for picking up the pattern. Thank you, Becky. I think I must have gotten a message at the same time. I don't know why it didn't give me the happy little cha-ching. That's a cha-ching for Becky. Thank you, Becky. Thank you so much. Oh, Rosie had her wisdom teeth out. Sweetheart, I know exactly what that's like. I had all 4 of mine taken out many moons ago, and it was awful. Make sure you keep your mouth as clean as you possibly can and don't get an infection like I did. Your face will blow up like a chipmunk. It was awful. I hope you have a speedy recovery, sweetie. All right. Rows 4, 5, and 6 of the background complete. We are now going to go back to what was row 3. We're going to use the front loops only. We're going to build our petals now. No sew. We're just going to create our petals. This is my favorite part of this square pattern. It's like magic. Here we go. Grab your pretty color, your petal color. Like I said, I've got this lovely bronze color. I just love it. It's so golden. And we are going to add in our petals. So here we go. Make a slip knot on your hook with your petal color. And we are going to find where we joined row 3. So it's the same thing. We kind of joined, you can see where you put your green in to join. I like to start my petals there, but remember you want 36 stitches. So there will probably be the little loop right after where you joined your green yarn. I'm going to join my yellow yarn right in front of that. And I want to skip the little loop next to it. You should be able to see where all your stitches are anchored. So for example, this one's anchored here, so I know that's where I want to put my second stitch. I want to anchor my yarn in this loop, skip this little tiny loop here, and this loop, because that's the knot, this is the loop, and I want to anchor it right opposite this one. So just take a moment before you join and make sure you kind of know where you're going to put your stitches. Remember, we want 36, so there's that little one we're going to skip right at the front. Join your yarn with a slip stitch in the front loop only. This is where we chain 3. This will count as a double crochet. We are on the petal rows now, so this is petal row 4. Join with a slip stitch in the front loop only because it's the only loop you can really get. Chain 3 to begin. Remember to skip all the stuff, the little joining knot of row 3, the little extra stitch. Look for your next stitch, find the loop opposite it because that's the part of the stitch you want to use. You're going to double crochet into that. I'm going to work over top of my short tail. I find it really helps if you pinch the square. That makes those loops just so easy to see, plus it gives you something to grip. Double crochet into each of the next 3 loops or the next 3 stitches. You've got the front loops to work with, and it's really the only part of the stitch you can. And I find bending it and pinching it helps. So chain 3 counts as a double crochet into each of the next 3 loops. Remember, you're skipping one because you want to keep that 36 stitches. Chain 1. From here on out, it's easy. Double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. Front loops only, but it's the only thing you've got. So It's not as confusing this time. It's the only part of the stitch that is available to you. Double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches and chain 1. Double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches and chain 1. You'll have 9 chain 1 spaces all the way around, but you'll still have 36 double crochets. And this is Petal Row 4. Four double crochet, chain 1, 4 double crochet, chain 1. You're not skipping any stitches along, you're just chaining 1 in between your sets of 4. Keep sort of bending the square where you need it, and it'll make those 4 loops of the next 4 stitches sort of really easy to access. 4 double crochet, chain 1. Pause, kind of bend it in place again. You can really see how easy it is for me to grab those loops. 4 double crochet. Chain 1. Bend it again, makes it nice and easy to see. Four double crochet, chain 1. Looks like I forgot to chain 1. 4 double crochet, chain 1. Thought something seemed to miss. There we go. Chain 1. 4 double crochet, chain 1, 4 double crochet, chain 1. I want to have 9 chain 1 spaces and 36 double crochets. And that is important because that is what makes the petal part of this really work. I think that's 4 again. Yes. Okay. Chain 1. I've got 1 more set of 4 to do. 4 double crochet, and then I'm going to chain 1 and join with a slip stitch to the top of the chain 3. There we go. Chain 3 did count as a double crochet, so you want to use the top of it. And that is Petal Row 4. I'm going to flatten it back down again. So your row might look like it wants to stand up. Just flatten it. It'll lay flat. There we go. So we've got our background done, and now we've done Petal Row 4. So the whole of row 3, the top of it, has been used now. The back loops was used to establish our background. The front loops has been used to establish our flower. Little sip of coffee for me. There we go. All right. This is the final row of this sweet little boho sunflower granny square pattern. Here we go. This is row 5 of the petal. What we want to do is create this part now. So I love this. This whole fancy looking thing is made in the final row. So you've got your row of establishing double crochets, and then we're going to build these petals. We're going to make them really fancy looking. We're going to create like a bit of a peacoat. We're also going to attach it to our background. So there's no sewing, like I said, we're just attaching the little petals as we go. So the whole thing is done in row 5. Way easier than it looks. Here we go. You want to slip stitch into the chain 1 space that's pretty much right directly below your hook. It's the one you just made as you finished off the last row. You're going to slip stitch into that chain 1 space just to start the row because it's easiest if we start there. Here we go. We're going to chain 3. Across these 4 double crochet, remember your chain 3 counts as a double crochet, we're going to double crochet 4 stitches together. So chain 3 out of your chain 1 space and double crochet 4 stitches together. Grab the top of that chain 3. You work the first half of a double crochet in the top of those 4 double crochet stitches. So you work the first half of a double crochet in all of those 4 stitches, and that gives you 5 loops on your hook. 5. Yarn over, pull back through everything. Chain 1, and that gives us that pretty little petal, sort of pinched petal look at the top. Now we want to attach it, so flatten your square, flatten down your flower, and wherever the petal would naturally land, you're going to slip stitch into a front-facing loop to join. I'm going to use this front-facing loop right here. So I'm not using the top of the stitch, I'm using the front-facing loop, and slip stitch, chain 1, and then you see this little loop right here. When you chained away from that big 4 double crochet together, you get this little loop. I feel like that's the easiest place to just slip stitch, and that completes your picot. So you finish the petal, chain 1, it pinches it, slip stitch into a front-facing loop on your background to anchor your petal, chain 1 and slip stitch back into what was the back basically of that first little chain. That gives you a picot. And then the rest is easy. Chain 3 and slip stitch into the next chain 1 space. There we go. So that's petal number 1 done. Let's do a few more together. Obviously, the rest of them. We're going to have 9 altogether. Debbie's asking what my opinion of the new Karen anniversary cakes are. 40 yards, same price. I haven't seen the anniversary cakes. I don't believe I've seen them. So if I'm shopping in person, I have some independent yarn stores, but they don't typically carry Lion Brand or Bernat or any of that stuff. They typically carry wool. Smaller companies, they carry some of the Canadian companies like Briggs & Little. I really like them, but it's wool. It's like real fibers. So my only real option to get like the typical name brands like the Lion Brand, Bernat, Red Heart, Karen, those are primarily Michaels and a little bit at Walmart, but mostly Michaels. So if Michaels doesn't have it, then I haven't seen it. I might be able to see it online, but you know what it's like. Shopping online versus in person are two very different animals. Shopping online is comforting from your own home. Shopping in person lets you really see, feel, experience the yarn and the texture and the color in person before you buy. I like both. But I haven't seen the anniversary cakes, so I'll have to see if I can see them. Can't I make this in worsted weight yarn for the boho style, says Rosie. Yes, Rosie, this is medium weight yarn. So I'm using medium weight for the square. I used a size 5 bulky weight for the wall hanging, but this is regular size 4 yarn for the square. But like I said at the beginning, you can technically use any yarn weight you want and the right hook for that yarn weight to make this square, because it's a granny square. Granny squares can be made using any yarn weight, any fiber. Granny squares are magical. Here we go, petal number 2. So a petal in its entirety looks like this. We chain 3 from our slip stitch in the chain 1 space, chain 3, double crochet 4 stitches together. So you work the first half of a double crochet in each of those 4 stitches. That gives you 5 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull back through everything. That's your double crochet 4 stitches together. Now we want to make the picot. Chain 1. Lay your petal flat to see where it would naturally land on your background. And then right here. Slip your hook underneath one of those top facing loops. Slip stitch, that joins your petal to the background of your square. Chain 1 and slip stitch. I like to use that loop at the back of that chain from the first chain there in that little picot. There's your picot and it's attached. Chain 3. And slip stitch into the next chain 1 space. There you go. Attached petal, attached petal. We've got 7 more to go. Chain 3. Double crochet 4 stitches together. That'll give you 5 loops. Yarn over, pull back through everything. Chain 1, lay it flat. Find where it's going to land. slip your hook under a background front facing loop, not the top of the stitch, slip stitch, chain 1, slip stitch, you got your little picot, chain 3, and slip stitch into the chain 1 space. Ba-ba! So wherever your petal looks like it's going to land over the edge of your square, you just use the top front facing loop of that. So don't use the top of the stitch, use the front facing loop that's right against the top edge. And it'll be perfect, don't worry. From the chain 1 space, we chain 3, double crochet 4 stitches together. Chain 1, lay it flat, see where it lands, slip stitch into the closest available front facing loop, chain 1, and slip stitch back into, I like the back of that chain. That's your picot. Chain 3, slip stitch into the next chain 1 space to complete the petal. Sandra, I agree. Everything has reduced. Every product seems to have reduced in weight, size, amount, even quality. I think a lot of our favorite chocolates and candies have just gone, ugh. And the price is the same or more. It's absolutely infuriating. Debbie's suggesting I check out the Michaels website. I will do that. Thanks, Debbie. Petal number 5? Yeah, petal number 5. Chain 3. Double crochet 4 stitches together. Chain 1. Lay it flat. Grab a top facing loop and slip stitch. Chain 1. And slip stitch back into the first chain away from the petal. Chain 3 to complete the petal. Wow, I'm really struggling with my chains today. And slip stitch into the chain 1 space. I need a little bit more slack, I guess. All right, that's 5. I'm halfway done. Here we go. Chain 3. Double crochet 4 stitches together. Chain 1, lay it flat, find the next closest available, I think I'll use this one here. Slip stitch to join, chain 1, and slip stitch into the back of the chain 1, or the first chain away from that petal, chain 3, and slip stitch into the next chain 1 space. They get quicker and quicker and quicker as you go. Oh, a falling leaf just blew past my window. There it is. Does anybody remember? I don't even know if this ad was just Canadian or not. It might have just been Canadian. Does anybody remember the ad where this girl's out for a walk down her street on the sidewalk? It's a beautiful sunny summer day. And then she suddenly screams bloody murder because there's like a leaf on the sidewalk in front of her, like it's a fall, which means fall's coming. That still makes me giggle. I kind of have that thought when I see one errant leaf kind of blow past the window. Thank you, Becky. Yes, Becky reminding me, the pattern, which is on sale today, is 2-in-1. It's the wall hanging and the square. So it's a twofer. It's a little 2-for-1 pattern. It's got instructions for the square and the wall hanging in it. So if you like one project or the other or both, then they're both in the same pattern. I'm working on my last petal here, and that will be the end of Petal Row 5. And same thing, lay it flat. It's easier and easier with each petal that you attach to the background. Finish that picot. Chain your last 3 and you slip stitch right into the same chain 1 space that you began the whole thing in. But I like to hide that little loop. I stick my hook through that loop of the first slip stitch and through the chain 1 space. Then I slip stitch to join. It just makes it neater. Fasten off. And weave in tails. So if you've got any tails left on the back, weave them in. I like to weave this guy in underneath the most recent double crochets in this row. So my double crochet 5 stitches together. If you're using the super thick bulky yarn or you're using like a wool, you probably will notice that it doesn't want to come undone. But if you're worried about your tails weaving themselves back out, or if you're using kind of a slippery-ish yarn, just do the usual weave in back and forth just to make sure it doesn't want to come out. There we go. Does anybody have any questions about the sunflower square or even the wall hanging from Friday? I am so delighted with this square. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It is such a nice big flower. And I love the 3-dimensional effect. I think this would just make an absolutely stunning blanket. I will definitely be making more. I'm trying to decide though if I'm going to make them all sunflowers or if I'm going to make them different colored flowers. I think that would just be such a fun garden quilt. All different colors, but I really do love the sunflowers. The sunflowers are so happy. Now I think maybe I need to make one that looks like a little scarecrow. I think that would be cute. Or a pumpkin. You know what? I think I'm going to try making a pumpkin too. Tune in next time. I love this. I love the fall. I love the colors of the fall. I love sunflowers. Sunflowers and pumpkins are 2 of those little things I just can't make enough of. I really want to sit and try a pumpkin now. You know what? Stay tuned to the post section because I just might try and make a pumpkin and we'll live stream that this week. Because wouldn't it be fun to have a matching pumpkin square in the same kind of concept as this sunflower? I love that idea. Maybe we'll do that this week. Keep an eye on the posts section of our YouTube channel because we will announce that if we do. My brain is always racing ahead. So sometimes it takes me a little, like I get through something and I look at it and then I literally start seeing it morph into things. And does anybody else have that? I literally see it turn into a pumpkin. I see it turn into a face. I see it turn into different colors. Does anybody else do that? That's how my brain works. So as I'm sitting here finishing this flower, I'm seeing it turn into a pumpkin. I would love to make a pumpkin version of this. So I think I might do that. And if I can get it to work, we'll live stream that this week too. Why not? It's the fall. It's crochet season, baby. Yes, Tammy, the colors I'm using are in the pattern specifically for this square. This is a Bernat Super value in bronze. This was a Caron 1 pound in espresso, and this is Red Heart Comfort in what I believe is sage. It's a huge ball of yarn that I no longer have the label for, but it's a sage color. Goodness me, Leviathan! Thank you for picking up a pattern. Cool name. And this dude over here, this is the wall hanging version. This was the size 5 bulky weight Hue and Me from Lion Brand. So all 3 of these are Hue and Me. This is Spicy, Mustard, and Night Forest. Gorgeous names, beautiful colors. I really love that. And you can use that just to make granny squares, and look how big they are. So let's do some measurements. Just the square part of this, using the bulky weight, which I'm going to say is closer to a size 6, 9 inches, and depending on your tension, it could be all the way up to 10, so quite wide for the square if you use the bulky weight. If you use standard, this is 7 inches across. This is a medium size 4 yarn. You can always make this square bigger by continuing the row 6 pattern of double crochet. You can add a border to it. You can use any yarn weight and the appropriate hook for this square, you can use any fiber because it's a granny square. But if you're making them all for the same pattern or the same project, try to keep the same yarn weight consistent throughout the whole project. Likewise, try to keep the same fiber consistent throughout the whole project. It just makes joining them together and washing the whole thing and care for it down the road a lot easier. So there we go. Keep an eye on the post section. I just absolutely love this. This was so much fun. And Crocus is talking pumpkins. You're all talking about pumpkins. And I'm thinking about the scarecrow too, Sandra. Like I said, keep an eye on the post tab. I'm feeling extremely crafty this week. We'll see what else we can dig up here. If you have questions about the pattern, please don't hesitate to leave them in the description box down below. I am back to getting to comments. It took me a while. We were on vacation and it took me a while to get back to that. But I am back to answering some questions. Also, you can always pop into the shop and talk to us there. The link to our shop is always in the description box. Anything sunflower related is on sale today and tomorrow, 15% off. So if you're here, you're in the know. Thank you so much. And I will add chapters to today's live stream. So give it about half an hour. That usually is still about as long as it takes me to get the chapters in. So if you are coming back, you can just easily wander mouse over the video player and you'll see all the chapters and they'll be labeled. So if you're looking for row 3 or row 4 background or row 4 petal, they'll all be right there and you can just jump right to it. And of course, the original tutorial we did on Friday is also linked down there as well. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday, everybody. We'll see you soon, very soon, if I can get a pumpkin going. And we'll talk to you later. Keep an eye on the post tab and have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.